bad condition, and almost invariably low in those whose condition is good, we cannot resist the conclusion that multitudes of our fellow creatures, hundreds of our immediate neighbors, are annually destroyed for want of the most evident precautions. The report on the sanitary condition of the working class contains information which attests the same fact. In Liverpool, in 1840, the average longevity of the upper classes, gentry, professional men, etc., was 35 years, that of the businessmen and better-placed handicraftsmen, 22 years, and that of the operatives, day labourers, and serviceable class in general, but 15 years. The parliamentary reports contain a mass of similar facts. The death rate is kept so high chiefly by the heavy mortality among young children in the working class. The tender frame of a child is least able to withstand the unfavorable influences of an inferior lot in life. The neglect to which they are often subjected, when both parents work or one is dead, avenges itself promptly, and no one need wonder that in Manchester, according to the report last quoted, more than 57% of the children of the working class perished before the 5th year, while but 20% of the children of the higher classes, and not quite 32% of the children of all classes in the country die under 5 years of age. 108A. The article of the Artisan, already several times referred to, furnishes exacter information on this point. By comparing the city death rate in single diseases of children with the country death rate, thus demonstrating that, in general, epidemics in Manchester and Liverpool are 3 times more fatal than in country districts, that affections of the nervous system are quintupled, and stomach troubles trebled, while deaths from affections of the lungs in cities are to those in the country as 2.5 to 1. Fatal cases of smallpox, measles, scarlet fever, and whooping cough, among small children, are 4 times more frequent, those of water on the brain are trebled, and convulsions 10 times more frequent. To quote another acknowledged authority, I append the following table. Out of 10,000 persons, there die 108b. Under 5-19, 20-39, 40-59, 60-69, 70-79, 80-89, 90-99. 100x 5 years in Rutlandshire, a healthy agricultural district. 2,865, 891, 1,275, 1,299, 1,189, 1,428, 938. 112, 3 Essex, Marshy Agricultural District. 3,159, 1,110, 1,526, 1,413, 963, 1,019, 630. 177, 3 Town of Carlisle, 1779 to 1787, before introduction of mills. 4,408, 921, 1,006, 1,201, 940. 826, 633, 153, 22 Town of Carlisle, after introduction of mills. 4,738, 930 L, 201, 1,134, 677, 727. 452, 80, 1 Preston, Factory Town. 4,947, 1,136, 1,379, 1,114, 553, 532, 298. 38, 3 Leeds, Factory Town. 5,286, 927, 1,228, 1,198, 593, 512, 225, 29, 2. Apart from the divers diseases which are the necessary consequence of the present neglect and oppression of the poorer classes, there are other influences which contribute to increase the mortality among small children. In many families the wife, like the husband, has to work away from home, and the consequence is the total neglect of the children, who are either locked up, or given out to be taken care of. It is, therefore, not to be wondered at, if hundreds of them perish through all manner of accidents. Nowhere so many children run over, nowhere so many killed by falling, drowning, or burning, as in the great cities and towns of England. Deaths from burns and scalds are especially frequent, such a case occurring nearly every week during the winter months in Manchester, and very frequently in London, though little mention is made of them in the papers. I have at hand a copy of the Weekly Dispatch of December 15, 1844, according to which, in the week from December 1 to December 7 inclusive, 6 such cases occurred. These unhappy children, perishing in this terrible way, are victims of our social disorder, and of the property-holding classes interested in maintaining and prolonging this disorder. Yet one is left in doubt whether even this terribly torturing death is not a blessing for the children, in rescuing them from a long life of toil and wretchedness, rich in suffering and poor in enjoyment. So far has it gone in England, and the bourgeoisie reads these things every day in the newspapers and takes no further trouble in the matter. But it cannot complain if, after the official and non-official testimony here cited which must be known to it, I broadly accuse it of social murder. Let the ruling class see to it that these frightful conditions are ameliorated, or let it surrender the administration of the common interests to the labouring class. To the latter course it is by no means inclined, for the former task, so long as it remains the bourgeoisie crippled by bourgeois prejudice, it has not the needed power. For if, at last, after hundreds of thousands of victims have perished, it manifests some little anxiety for the future, passing a Metropolitan Buildings Act, under which the most unscrupulous overcrowding of dwellings is to be, at least in some slight degree, restricted, if it points with pride to measures which, far from attacking the root of the evil, do not by any means meet the demands of the communist sanitary policy. It cannot thus vindicate itself from the accusation. The English bourgeoisie has but one choice, either to continue its rule under the unanswerable charge of murder, and in spite of this charge, or to abdicate in favour of the labouring class. Hitherto it has chosen the former course. Let us turn from the physical to the mental state of the workers. Since the bourgeoisie vouchsafes them only so much of life as is absolutely necessary, we need not wonder that it bestows upon them only so much education as lies in the interest of the bourgeoisie, and that, in truth, is not much. The means of education in England are restricted out of all proportion to the population. The few day schools at the command of the working class are available only for the smallest minority, and are bad besides. The teachers, worn-out workers, and other unsuitable persons who only turn to teaching in order to live, are usually without the indispensable elementary knowledge, without the moral discipline so needful for the teacher, and relieved of all public supervision. Here too, free competition rules, and, as usual, the rich profit by it, and the poor, for whom competition is not free, who have not the knowledge needed to enable them to form a correct judgment, have the evil consequences to bear. Compulsory school attendance does not exist. In the mills it is, as we shall see, purely nominal, and when in the session of 1843 the ministry was disposed to make this nominal compulsion effective, the manufacturing bourgeoisie opposed the measure with all its might, though the working class was outspokenly in favour of compulsory school attendance. Moreover, a mass of children work the whole week through in the mills or at home, and therefore cannot attend school. The evening schools, supposed to be attended by children who are employed during the day, are almost abandoned or attended without benefit. It is asking too much that young workers who have been using themselves up 12 hours in the day, should go to school from 8 to 10 at night. And those who try it usually fall asleep, as is testified by hundreds of witnesses in the Children's Employment Commission's report. Sunday schools have been founded, it is true, but they too are most scantily supplied with teachers, and can be of use to those only who have already learnt something in the day schools. The interval from one Sunday to the next is too long for an ignorant child to remember in the second sitting what it learned in the first, a week before. The Children's Employment Commission's report furnishes 100 proofs, and the Commission itself most emphatically expresses the opinion that neither the weekday nor the Sunday schools, in the least degree, meet the needs of the nation. This report gives evidence of ignorance in the working class of England, such as could hardly be expected in Spain or Italy. It cannot be otherwise. The bourgeoisie has little to hope, and much to fear, from the education of the working class. The ministry, in its whole enormous budget of £55 million, has only the single trifling item of £40,000 for public education, and, but for the fanaticism of the religious sects which does at least as much harm as good, the means of education would be yet more scanty. As it is, the state church manages its national schools and the various sects their sectarian schools for the sole purpose of keeping the children of the brethren of the faith within the congregation, and of winning away a poor childish soul here and there from some other sect. The consequence is that religion, and precisely the most unprofitable side of religion, polemical discussion, is made the principal subject of instruction, and the memory of the children overburdened with incomprehensible